I think people have a kind of internalized expectation of what experiencing a mental health problem is and looks like, and some of that is fed by media representation, etc. But some of that's just about how we've been brought up and our sense of what we're recognizing as this sense of weakness or failure. And for lots of people, that's really difficult to get past. And I think there's something around us, we have this kind of expectation that we might reach out if we're struggling. But I think it's as important to be talking to the people around us to say, keep an eye out for your friends, for your family, for your work colleague. If you're worried about them, ask a question. And if you're not sure that they're giving you the right answer or the answer that you're worried about, then ask them again, because oftentimes people really, really appreciate the power of small, which is the theme for Time to Talk Day, really appreciate those tiny, tiny things that we feel might not make any difference at all. But for somebody who's really holding on to something and not talking about it, could be the difference between them feeling able to reach out and talk about it and keeping that to themselves. And we know that actually being able to talk about something is incredibly powerful, both for that individual and in order to feel like you've got that support mechanism around you.
And I think sometimes people presume when you're going to talk to a friend or a family member about their mental health, you're going to have to, put on a suit, a pair of glasses, sit yourself down, sit back on the couch and let's have this conversation. But actually what you've just described there is something completely different, those little bits. But actually, it's almost quite important to have this conversation around how do you talk about mental health?
Agreed. And we've got loads and loads of tips on the website. So if people are uncertain to go and do that. But I think, if we think about what sort of top tips might be in terms of starting a conversation, I think there's something around doing something really simple, which again, everybody goes, well, yeah, don't really need to tell me that. But actually, sometimes we do need to reiterate that it's really good to ask questions. And one of the most important things is just to be able to hear and listen to what people say. Oftentimes we get really, really worried that we can't have a conversation with our friends or our family or our work colleagues unless we are experts in a particular subject or a diagnosis. And actually, I think what we're trying to really encourage people to do and to recognise is you don't have to be an expert to actually just lend a hearing ear and actually hear what people are saying. Don't try to fix it. That's not your job. And don't get distracted by worrying about not being expert in this particular field.